When people think of the state of Maine, what often comes to mind are endless pine forests, foggy coastlines, or peaceful fishing villages. That's not wrong, but beyond that beauty, deep within its wilderness, lie quiet and remote towns that carry stories of past glory, survival, and the struggle of living in isolation. Let's explore 15 of the most remote and unique towns in Maine, places you may never have heard of, yet are filled with stories worth remembering. We begin with a town called Danforth, a small northeastern Maine town that's truly off the grid. Located near East Grand Lake, this 60.46 square mile town is reachable by only one main road that cuts through thick forest. In winter, snow often blocks the only way in or out. Life here is deeply tied to nature, fishing, hunting, and farming. With fewer than 600 residents, the community is close-knit, but also fragile due to limited options for survival. Schools and medical facilities are scarce, and isolation becomes even more real during extreme weather. Yet, in that quiet, Danforth finds its identity, a town not reliant on the outside world, but grounded in solidarity and connection to the land. Heading farther northeast, there's Madawaska, a town at the edge of America, right on the Canadian border. It's known as one of the most francophone towns in the U.S., with over 90% of the population fluent in French. What's unique is a small bridge that connects Madawaska to its twin town in New Brunswick, making it feel like a world of its own caught between two cultures. But despite this cross-border access, Madawaska isn't an easy place to make a living. Its economy relies heavily on seasonal industries like logging and farming. When the seasons shift, so do the jobs. Many young people leave, and the community continues to age. Still, despite being small and remote, Madawaska proudly preserves its strong Acadian identity and heritage. Still in northern Maine, not far from Madawaska, stands Fort Kent, the official start of U.S. Highway 1, a road that stretches thousands of miles all the way to Key West, Florida. Its location gives it symbolic importance, but daily life here is far from glamorous. Like Madawaska, Fort Kent is rooted in Acadian culture, with well-preserved traditions and language. But challenges abound. Medical services and job opportunities are scarce, and the local economy depends on education and seasonal work. In winter, freezing temperatures and the long distance to major cities make Fort Kent one of the most isolated towns in the state. Yet, for locals, that isolation isn't a burden. It's part of who they are, and often a point of pride. A bit farther south from Fort Kent is Van Buren, a small town along the St. John River that feels like it exists in its own world. With just over 2,000 residents, the town is largely French-speaking and carries a deep Acadian cultural influence. But what makes this 34.86 square mile town feel especially remote is its social and infrastructure limitations. Access to healthcare and education is minimal, and many families must travel long distances for basic needs. Numerous homes sit empty, left behind by those seeking opportunity elsewhere. Still, the residents who remain hold their community together tightly. From the east, we now head west to the town of Jackman. For those unfamiliar, this place is often called the Switzerland of Maine, with mountain views, sparkling lakes, and forests that stay lush throughout the seasons. Jackman sits near the Canadian border, and only one main road leads in or out. The town survives mainly on tourism, especially in winter, with snowmobiling, hunting, and ice fishing bringing life to its inns and cafes. But when the snow melts, the local economy all but disappears. The biggest challenge in Jackman isn't just its remote location, but its dependence on the seasons. Public services are hard to reach, and many residents travel far even for routine checkups. Still, for nature lovers and adventurers, Jackman remains an irreplaceable, silent paradise. Then there's Island Falls, a town surrounded by rivers, hills, and wild landscapes. The name might sound unfamiliar, but its natural beauty is striking. Access to the town isn't easy, and most people simply pass through on their way somewhere else. Yet the community in Island Falls moves at a steady pace. With fewer than 500 residents, they don't chase modern life. Instead, they choose to live slowly and simply. The average household income is below the state standard, and public facilities like schools or medical services are very limited. But the town offers something rare, a true sense of togetherness, peace, and a deep connection to nature. A little farther north is Houlton, the town that marks the end of Interstate 95. While it's symbolically connected to the heart of America, in reality, Houlton feels far removed from modern life. With only one access route, visitors are greeted by open fields, old buildings, and empty homes. The town once relied heavily on agriculture and cross-border trade. Over time, both industries declined, though local life still revolves around agricultural markets. Today, Houlton struggles with limited public services, few job opportunities, and the ongoing migration of its younger population. Moving far south, but still near the Canadian border, Calais stands as one of Maine's oldest towns. What makes it unique is how it looks directly across the St. Croix River at the town of St. Stephen in New Brunswick. Despite their deep historical ties, life in Calais feels slow and quiet. Many old buildings downtown sit empty, a sign of the town's economic decline. The harsh winters only add to its isolation, limiting outdoor activity and making access harder. Once a thriving seaport and trading post, Calais' golden era has long passed. Not far from Calais lies Eastport, the easternmost seaport in the United States. This town lives on a sharp seasonal cycle, bustling during lobster season, then nearly silent through the winter. Eastport was once a key maritime hub and commercial port, but today it relies heavily on seasonal fishing and limited tourism. When the off-season hits, many shops close and the streets grow quiet. Its declining population shows just how hard it is to sustain life in such a small town. Still, Eastport holds a special, unshakable pride. It's the first place in America to see the sunrise each day. Right next door sits Lubec, a town that spans a wide 78.38 square miles. Geographically, it's the easternmost point on the U.S. mainland. Once booming with fish canneries, Lubec now leans on tourism and dramatic natural beauty to survive. Its seaside buildings and tall lighthouse give the town a romantic feel, though behind that lies the reality of a shrinking population and a struggling economy. Many properties are abandoned, and the town's future remains uncertain. Still, Lubec is far from bleak. It offers breathtaking ocean views, peaceful walking trails, and a kind of stillness that's priceless for those looking to escape the chaos of the outside world. From the east, we head north into Maine's upper region. Here lies Millinocket, a town that was once the heart of the paper industry thanks to the Great Northern Paper Company. Located about a 2-hour drive from Bangor, the road to Millinocket winds through quiet stretches surrounded by dense forest. After the mill shut down, the population sharply declined, and Millinocket slowly transformed into a quiet place. But behind its isolation lies stunning natural beauty. It's the gateway to Baxter State Park and Mount Katahdin, the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail. Though many buildings sit empty and poverty levels remain high, the residents who stay continue to support their community with pride. Millinocket is a tough, cold town, but a draw for those who crave wild, unfiltered nature. Further north in Aroostook County, near the Canadian border, is the remote town of Presque Isle. Its location puts it closer to cities in New Brunswick than to any of Maine's urban centers. With a subarctic climate and heavy snowfall, living here requires resilience. In the past, Presque Isle played a key role in polar aviation and was a major hub for potato distribution. Today, life moves slowly, with vast fields and aging buildings as familiar sights. Still, the town remains active through a local college and agricultural research facilities. Heading south, we arrive in Old Town. Situated on small islands in the Penobscot River and not far from Bangor, it's not entirely hard to reach, but it still carries the feel of an isolated small town. Old Town has a long history as home to the Penobscot Indian Nation and once thrived on canoe manufacturing and pulp production. Today, it faces economic challenges after factory closures. But cultural roots remain strong, especially around tribal lands and the historic downtown area. Still in central Maine, we reach Waterville, a town straddling the Kennebec River, about an hour from the state capital, Augusta. Unlike more remote towns, Waterville isn't fully cut off, but it still bears the quiet rhythm of a place rebuilding after the fall of industry. Colby College is the heartbeat of the town, bringing energy and life. In the downtown area, old shops and historic theaters sit alongside student cafes. Though it looks peaceful, the city still faces issues like social inequality and urban decay in some corners. Waterville is a college town trying to move forward while grappling with the economic realities of rural Maine. Finally, we arrived in Augusta, the capital of Maine. Though it holds the title of capital, it doesn't feel like a metropolis. Surrounded by forests and lakes, Augusta remains quiet, nothing like the bustling government centers in other states. The city has deep roots dating back to colonial times, and today serves as the hub for state government and bureaucracy. Yet outside the government buildings, Augusta feels like any small town, with a sleepy downtown, a humble local community, and an atmosphere that hasn't changed much in decades. Life here is calm, slow, and far removed from the image of a typical capital city. In the end, from Millinocket, once called the Magic City, to Presque Isle, tucked away in the far north, Maine reveals a side few people ever see. The journey to these towns may not be easy, but that's part of what makes them special. Every trip into Maine's backroads is a step through time and space, offering something no city ever could. And, perhaps in their silence and simplicity, these towns remind us that not everything remote should be forgotten. Because sometimes, it's in the quietest places that we find life's purest meaning.